Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So, interesting piece of news today. It came out, I think, yesterday or something like that, but the Sacramento Kings have hired Mike Brown as their next head coach. Now, I want to lead off with this, okay? This is their 12th coach in 16 years, okay? They don't really hang on to coaches that long, okay? And in the past 16 years, they have not had a defense better than 19th for those 16 years since Rick Adelman was their fucking coach in '03, back when they were actually a playoff team. So there's a lot here to unpack. I want to take my time with this one because there's a lot of thoughts I have, and I want to be able to get them all across clearly. So, real quick, I know people are going to ask me, do you like the move? Do you not like the move? I'm going to be honest, it's not my ideal move because the Sacramento Kings were looking at Mark Jackson. They were looking at Steve Clifford. They ended up going with Mike Brown. Now, the reason they probably didn't go with Mark Jackson is most likely because Mark Jackson probably didn't want this project. I'm just going to call it what it is. He probably didn't want the Sacramento Kings. And when it comes to Steve Clifford, I just think Mike Brown is better than Steve Clifford. It was really down to Mark Jackson and Mike Brown, and they went with Mike Brown. Now, this is a 4-year deal, which will not take place immediately. Nothing has been signed yet. Mike Brown is going to play out his season as an assistant on the Golden State Warriors. He's been there for 7 years, sitting behind Steve Kerr, and he's done a good job. I'm going to call it what it is. Mike Brown has done a good job. Okay. How much his 4-year contract is worth, we don't know, but I do know this. Mike Brown is playing out the season with the Golden State Warriors until they lose, or if they go to the finals, they end up winning it all. He will be there for the remainder of the season. But there is a lot actually that is good about this, and there's a giant question mark. The first couple things I actually like about this signing is, first of all, your defense is more than likely going to get better. If you're a Sacramento Kings fan, you are ranked 29th in the league this year in defensive efficiency out of 30 teams. As I stated earlier, the Sacramento Kings have been horrible at defense for more than a decade and a half, and I think adding Mike Brown is going to be a huge improvement to that. And the reason I say that is because even when he had LeBron James in 2006, 2007, when LeBron went to the finals, the Cavaliers had the second-ranked defense in the NBA that year in defensive efficiency or defensive rating, whatever you choose. I'm pretty sure it's defensive rating. That's what I meant to say earlier about the 29th out of 30. It was defensive rating. But Mike Brown is I think going to be huge because he's really good at getting players to buy into his defense. If he can get De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis to buy into his defense, outside of guys like Davion Mitchell, Dante DiVincenzo, and Harrison Barnes, if he can get the rest of that roster to just buy into playing defense and be good at it, that's an improvement in itself. In fact, I think just that might be enough to get them a play-in spot in this upcoming season. And if that's the case, I consider that an improvement. Because Sacramento needs a lot. They need shooting, they need defense, they need rebounding, they need bench play, they need a lot of shit. And if you can get a head coach that will at least lock up the defensive end of the floor for you or get players to buy into it, it'll be huge for you. So I like that part of it. I also like the idea here that we're not going to have all the off-court issues like that Luke Walton had. It's very hard to coach a team and have outside drama as well. I think Luke Walton is a terrible fucking coach. I don't know how he keeps getting jobs in the NBA as a head coach, but as a generalized basketball fan, I'm happy to see him go. I'm glad to see Mike Brown get another crack at being a head coach. Now, I will say this, the biggest concern I have about this signing is the idea that I don't know what Mike Brown's going to run on offense. I just don't. And the reason I say that is because Mike Brown, when he has been a head coach, has had guys like Kobe Bryant or LeBron James as the centerpiece for his offenses. And You're not going to have that in Sacramento. You have De'Aaron Fox, who has been very good on offense, and you have Domantas Sabonis, who is a very good rebounder, very good passer, very good offensive player. But the two biggest gripes of these two players is that they can't play fucking defense. So if you can get Sabonis to play defense, you're going to have a multi-year all-star on your team. I mean, like, he's already a multi-year all-star, but you're going to make Sabonis a significantly better player than he already is. And De'Aaron Fox has shown that he is worth what the Sacramento Kings paid him. After the Tyrese Halliburton trade, I was a little skeptical because I was like, I think Tyrese Halliburton's, better than De'Aaron Fox, or is going to be. And I think he's definitely going to be better than De'Aaron Fox, but after the trade, De'Aaron Fox showed that he can, rise to the occasion. His number was called and he performed. So I can't complain about that. But I will say this, okay? Mike Brown has been able to sit behind some amazing coaches for the past couple years of his career. He's spent 7 years next to Steve Kerr, which I think is going to help with offense in Sacramento. He sat behind, guys like Greg Popovich. So I understand why the Sacramento Kings got Mike Brown. I don't know why he wanted this job, because obviously the Sacramento Kings are a giant what-if project. But you know what? We'll have to wait and see. I think Mike Brown's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good coach for the Sacramento Kings. And I'm hoping, and I'm saying I'm hoping, I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but I'm hoping that the owner allows the GM and the powers that be to do their fucking job. Because he has not allowed the GM to do that for the better half of, I would say, a decade. Okay, like, for whatever reason, ownership really likes to get involved in shit in Sacramento, and most times when an owner is involved with your team in some way, shape, or form, like, they're making the calls on who they want to re-sign and trades and shit like that. When they're giving their input on things, usually your team sucks. I'm just going to call it what it is. Like, the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a fucking championship in God knows how long because Jerry Jones is involved. The Washington football team or the Commanders or whatever, their owner's a piece of shit. Like, James Dolan with the Knicks, another guy who it's like he's, he likes to call the shots and it hasn't worked for the Knicks. So I'm hoping this is a case where ownership is allowing the GM to do their job. At the same time here, though, I don't know, like, I'm really hoping the Sacramento Kings don't end up in the same situation that the New York Knicks have. And what I mean by that is I'm hoping this offense, now that Mike Brown has been an assistant for 7 years now, I'm hoping that his offense has screen and rolls with some type of purpose to them. Because I watch the Knicks play offense, and it's whoever offense. Same thing with the Utah Jazz. It's whoever offense. It's like, okay, we're going to do this, instead of passing it to the guy down in the paint who has the mismatch, we're going to take an isolation three. Or we're going to have Julius Randle do an isolation move and shoot a fadeaway mid-range jumper and fucking miss it. Okay? Like, I'm really hoping that Mike Brown can come into this situation, get players open, get open shots, create mismatches, and so on and so forth. And I think he's going to do that. I definitely think the defensive end of the ball is going to improve drastically. I think that's going to get better. But this is a great signing, I think. It's definitely an improvement over Luke Walton. It's not the guy that I was hoping for. I was hoping they would get Mark Jackson, but I think Mark Jackson's going to go to the Lakers or somebody. But good for Sacramento Kings fans. You have something to be excited about since, like, Rick Adelman. You know what I'm saying? So it's not bad. It's not the best signing in the world. I mean, Mike Brown is a 61% win percentage as a head coach. I think he's won like 300 plus games or something like that and has lost like just over 200. It's like 230 or something like that. So I think it's a good signing. It's not, the greatest signing ever, but I definitely think it's an improvement. Hopefully Mike Brown shocks us all and makes Sacramento a relevant team again and doesn't, hopefully he changes the sentiment around the team that it's a poverty franchise, because Sacramento is it's got a lot of work to do, and I think this just was a step in the right direction. So, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but I'll be watching more Kings games come this upcoming year because I'm interested to see how he's going to play Sabonis and Fox and Harrison Barnes if they still have him. I don't think they will. I think they're going to trade him for somebody, but definitely going to be an interesting, optimistic experience. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sexy move, but it's an improvement. So, I don't know, man. Tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. I'm the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.